In today's video, I've got a nifty little haul of back issues to show you. These books all come from the most recent show hosted by the Minnesota Comic Exchange. Check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name's Chris, and this is Northgarden Comics. Well, I've got another haul of back issues to show you today. Like I said in the intro, these books came from the most recent show hosted by local Facebook group Minnesota Comic Exchange, and they've started a regular habit of putting on these shows at a mall. It's east of the Twin Cities Metro, free to attend. It's got an ever-increasing number of vendors and artists that are attending each time, so it's becoming a real good staple in the comic show circuit here in the Twin Cities. And I always seem to find something good. And I guess I'll emphasize that on this particular trip because this haul came just after the most recent hauls I've been showing you on this channel, which were massive, relatively speaking. You know, coming home with full short boxes, whether it was from a garage sale or the bulk buy I made or the Hot Comics warehouse blowout sale. But there have been a number of really good opportunities for me recently to buy some really cheap books. And so going into this show, I honestly just wanted to go because I'm not going to miss a comic book show, but really would have been okay, I think, if I came out with really nothing, because I felt so good after some of the other things I've picked up recently. So my wish list, is pretty standard. I keep it in CLZ, so that's always there. And I figured I would just go and see who was there, see what I could find. And surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, I still came home with a really nice stack of books. These were all pretty much either 50 cents or $1, though at the end I'll show you two books that I paid up for and spent a whole $2 a piece on. And we've got a good variety of titles and time frames here, everything from modern books all the way back to even a couple things from the Silver Age. So stick around and check out the books that I got from this most recent trip to the Minnesota Comic Exchange comic show. All right, as we start things off, I guess I kind of have these in order of vendor, so in the order that I purchased them, and yeah, we'll just kind of keep them that way. The first group of books actually came from the brothers Grin. I've mentioned them in previous videos. You've seen them recently, both from a garage sale haul that I bought from them and then from a bulk buy that I purchased from them. And honestly, I didn't even remember that they were going to be, or know that they were going to be at this show. And I was pleasantly surprised, of course, that they were. And I wasn't sure if I'd find anything after all the good stuff that I had from them recently. But I guess it shouldn't be surprising after all that I did in fact find some books. Most of these, again, were all of these I should say, are either 50 cents or $1. So from the Brothers Grin, first got this copy of Silver Surfer 138. This is a volume that I am very close to completing now. I collected a good number of these issues when they were coming out, way back late 80s, early 90s, and now I'm trying to piece together the rest of the volume. And so now that I'm down to kind of just a couple issues, it's harder and harder to find ones that I need and to find them in good shape and at a good price. But there was one for $1. This is issue 138, right towards the end of the volume. Very happy to have found that. Found a copy of Sensational She-Hulk number 12. Not something I'm really actively working on, but when I find the issues for cheap, especially the lower numbers, I pick them up. I think this is still, though, just after the Byrne run, or portion of that run, ended. I really don't know offhand when his run from this era of She-Hulk ran, but still like the character, so I'll pick up her issues when I find them. This next one was just an unplanned find, but happy to pick it up. Wizard did a bunch of these 1/2 issues back in the 90s, and this is the one from Generation X, and I think it was either something, it was a special buy. This says it was a limited edition, distributed in a special protective holder with a copy of this certificate, and of course I'm reading from the COA on the back there, but I don't know where in the timeline of the series it takes place or anything like that, but it was just a cool promotional issue with the COA included, so figured I'd grab that, especially because it was cheap. Next up here, got several issues starting in the Bronze Age from Captain America's first volume. His is a volume that I'm trying to get certain runs or eras of his titles. One is the Mike Zeck era, and then the Wade Garney run, which is much later in Volume 1 and then resumes in Volume 3. But Captain America Bronze Age stuff is hard to resist to begin with, or older for that matter. But I found several issues for 50 cents a piece. Here's issue 259, 261, 267, 268, 269, 270, good little sequential run there. And it continues, 271. Now we're going to jump ahead to 317, 318. I just think that's a cool cover. And that's it for Captain America, but always happy to find that era of Captain America in good shape and at a really nice price. The next little run of books here was one that I was a little surprised to find because I don't often come across these issues, and I'm not a huge DC collector, but I found several issues from Batman's first volume. This first one I got is issue number 349. I got it just because it was a Bronze Age cover in nice shape, and I thought it was pretty cool there with Batman and Robin, all the bats and things. So I don't think there's anything particularly significant about it, but it was just a cool book for 50 cents. And then the next several issues that I got do fall into an era of Batman that I am trying to piece together or fill out. I was actively collecting Batman in the late 80s, early 90s, but I didn't get nearly everything, and there were multiple titles. So now, kind of looking back, I am trying to piece together those runs from that era. And some of them are just nostalgia, but then I like the creative teams on these. Several of these, for example, come from the Brayfogle art run on Batman. We'll start here with issue 464, I believe. Yeah, 464. And this is already the 90s for Batman. There's 465. And then on the back, 466. Here is 468. 469. And 472. So that was a good little bit of progress on that era of Batman that I'm trying to piece together. Then got one issue from Fantastic Four. This is just because I like Fantastic Four. This is issue 321 from their first volume. Just a whole filler for me as I build out that volume. And then here's another just single issue that I got because I like the cover. I really don't know anything about the series. I want to say it's a limited series. It's called Wolverine First Class. This is the first issue, so it's nice to have the number 1, but I just thought that was a really great cover with Kitty and Wolverine on it. So I don't even know who the artist is on that cover. If I can, I'll look it up afterwards, and I'll put a little blurb down below so you know who the artist is on the cover there. Gonna stick with some Wolverine, going to his first ongoing volume, which I guess is volume 2. That's a volume I collected like the first 100 issues and then stopped. And now I'm trying to work on up to like 140, I believe. And they had a few more issues to help me make progress on that. These are always kind of iconic when you have Captain America and Wolverine on the cover together, but that's issue number 124. And then this is 133, and several of these covers are done by Jeff Matsuda. Really liked his art back in the 90s, and I think he does, like I said, several of these covers, and he was the interior artist for a little while as well. And then 135, 136, 137. This is a cool cover with Galactus, 138. And then 140. At this point, Lionel Yu was doing the pencils, and I think that's the last issue I'm trying to get right now, or the highest number issue I'm trying to get from this volume, at least for now. We'll see where that goes down the road. In addition to that, you come across issues in these boxes that you weren't looking for, didn't even maybe know they existed, but they catch your attention, and when they're so cheap, it makes it extra hard to leave them behind. These next two books are still Wolverine. They are like graphic novels, so they're square bound, not quite as thick as a trade paperback, but Marvel did plenty of these back in the 90s. This first one is called Wolverine Reign of Terra, written by Peter David with art by Andy Kubert. So, not going to say no to that creative team, and with a character that I really like. And then this other one is called Wolverine Killing. It looks like written by John Ney Reiber, and then Kent Williams, and then Sherilyn von Valkenburg is your creative team on this. Wolverine Killing. Looks like a Bill Sienkiewicz cover. Let me actually see if I can confirm that real quickly here. This is, how long will it take me to find the cover artist? Kent Williams is the interior pencils. Maybe it's the interior artist who does the cover. I'm not even sure. Well, if I can't find it, you can let me know if you know. Let us know who that cover artist is if you know. All right. That was it from Brothers Grin. Actually, no, it wasn't. There's still a few more books from Brothers Grin. These are, now we're getting early Bronze Age, a character that I really like, not actively working on this part of his run, but again, when they're cheap, like $1, and in decent shape, it's basically inevitable that I'm going to pick up these issues. This is now the lowest issue number of Daredevil that I own. This is Daredevil number 93. Great there, cover and sharing the title at this point with Black Widow, but again, for such a low price, definitely going to pick that up and bring that home. And then they also had this copy of Daredevil 112, which I thought was great as well, another low number. And you heard me mention at the beginning that I got a Silver Age book, and I did get that from the Brothers Grin. This was great. I just love to pick these up when I can get them. Another square-bound book, 25-cent cover price. This is Marvel Collector's Item Classics, number 13. So this is a reprint title, and it's actually a reprint title from the Silver Age, printing even earlier Silver Age stories. And I think this one it's got a Fantastic Four issue reprinted, and then it's got an Iron Man, a Doctor Strange, and then a Hulk. It says Hulk and the Watcher. So it's got multiple stories from multiple issues that are reprinted in here. I believe this is the title that went for like 22 issues, and then it was reprinted as Marvel's Greatest Comics. Is that correct? But starting with issue 23 or so, it became exclusively a Fantastic Four reprint title, and reprinted old, Silver Age stories from the Fantastic Four. And so that is a title I'm working on as well. But I don't see these very often, so super excited to be able to pick that up. And it's in, modestly good shape. So it presents well still once you get it in a good bag and board. These, I have them just still in the bags and boards that they came with when I bought them. But that was a super exciting find. That then does conclude the books from the Brothers Grin. So another thank you to them for having such great books, because I've had so many good finds from them recently. So to come home with that number of books, a third time in a row basically, was fantastic. And then shift gears over to a couple books I'll show you from a different seller that I purchased from. I forget his name off the top of my head right now, but a couple books that were pretty cool, and they were really cheap. I'm talking less than $1 cheap. First is this Heathcliff, number 12. I'm not collecting Heathcliff, though it is a little nostalgic to childhood, but I am trying to get all of these Marvel 25th anniversary banner covers, and that was one that I didn't have. So I was really happy to find that. And then this is one, again, not collecting the comic book, but I did watch the show regularly, and I just thought this was a great seasonal cover. This is Alf number 23, and I just thought that was a cool autumn cover. But again, for like 25, 50 cents, whatever it was, that's a great price to get a cool nostalgic comic book. And then the last vendor that I purchased from, it is Comic Vikings, and there are multiple sellers with Comic Vikings. I know Matthew best of all, and I see him the most regularly, and so I always am sure to stop at his table and to talk to him, and we chat comic books and things like that for a bit. And I was on my way out and really didn't know that I wanted to buy anything else, but he was having a deal where all of his stuff was 20% off, and so I did wind up finding 2 books. These are the 2 books that I paid up for, for me, paid up for. They had sticker prices of $3 each. I got them for $2 a piece, and the first one I got, it was a cover buy. It is one of the variant covers from this limited series, The Life of Captain Marvel, with this Art Germ cover. I have this limited series, I've read it, but I always like to find the Art Germ covers, and he did at least this one for this limited series. There may be others, and I don't have any of them yet, so I figured I would go ahead and grab that just as a variant because I like the cover, I like the artist, I like the character. So that was a book I was willing to pay up for a little bit. Again, got it for $2. And then the last one was a book that helped me complete a limited series that I've now been able to not only complete but read, and really enjoyed it. So I'm really glad I paid up for this one as well. This is Batman White Knight issue number 4. And again, $2 for this one. If you have not read this story, but you have any interest at all in Batman, this was a great story. Written and drawn by Sean Murphy, and this was the first limited series with this cast of characters in this alternate universe. And he's now done several limited series. He didn't draw all of them. He has paired up with artists for a couple of the others, but he's been the writer on all of these, and he did draw most of the limited series. But he's done 4 or 5 now, and he's really building out what people are calling the Murphyverse. And it's just a great alternate take on the characters here, and a lot of classic elements, so things that you'd like. But the art is fantastic. The story is good as well. And so, yeah, if you can find these for cheap, I definitely recommend hunting them down and picking them up. They're also available in trade paperback, hardcover, deluxe hardcover, so a number of ways you can get them. But this, like I said, was the last issue I needed to complete this limited series. Really glad I finally, completed that one so I could read the whole series, and now I'm kind of reading all of the rest of the Murphyverse that's out so far. So that is the second book that I got from Matthew at Comic Vikings, and that is the last book that I picked up from this show that day. With that, I'm going to go ahead and say that's going to do it for me, and that's going to do it for this haul from the most recent show hosted by the Minnesota Comic Exchange. I do hope you saw something that you liked, and the reason I show these books is partly to maybe you like to see comic books, and so you just want to see those and show you the things that I'm collecting, but maybe you're collecting some of these runs as well, or maybe you see something you're not currently collecting, but it gives you an idea for something new that you do want to collect. So I do hope you saw something that you liked, but what about you? What kinds of things are you finding in your own comic adventures lately? Let us know down below. Now, if you're not quite ready for the YouTube fun to stop, I have hand-selected a couple videos here for you to check out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.